That's 6 o'clock. See you tomorrow at 5. Take care.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Our lead stories tonight are about the New York Democratic presidential primary and fighting in the Persian Gulf. First, about the Gulf. Most commercial ships stayed out of the waters today, waiting for the smoke to clear after yesterday's shootouts. There were no more battles between Iran and U.S. forces, but as correspondent Richard Wagner reports, the Gulf was still a very dangerous place.
In a continuing show of force, at least 5 U.S. Navy warships were on patrol today in the southern Gulf. But their presence did not prevent Iranian gunboats attacking a tanker from a neutral Gulf state just a few miles away. There were no reports of casualties in the incident, and the crew was rescued by the Yemeni Coast Guard.
Although the temperature may not be as high as it was yesterday, it's clear the heat is still on in the southern Gulf.
This attack and marine radio traffic monitored today show the Iranians have not been intimidated by the pounding they took yesterday.
We have 3 small Iranian speedboats with hostile intent in Fatahfield. Any American warship in the area, please respond.
In addition to the United States, 5 other Western nations are patrolling the waters of the Gulf. One U.S. ally today came across a trio of mines that had been set out by Iran.
U.S. Navy ship, this is a French warship, over.
French warship, this is U.S. warship. I copy the mine report.
The oil companies today were working to recover from the effects of Monday's fierce fighting. The British-flagged tanker York Marine, attacked yesterday by Iranian gunboats, was under tow, headed for repairs. In the Mubarak field, technicians were inspecting damage on an abandoned oil rig. U.S. warships, in a departure from their normal escort duties, threw up a picket line around the field, protecting the installation against further attacks. The violence of the last 2 days has not stopped the flow of oil through the Gulf, but it has reduced the number of tankers willing to run the Iranian gauntlet. Many companies are holding their vessels at anchor, and United States warships have temporarily suspended escorting reflagged Kuwaiti tankers to focus on the Iranian threat. Late this afternoon, U.S. ships and helicopters were going through search and rescue exercises, sharpening their skills for the seemingly inevitable next clash, as Iran shows no sign of halting its hostile actions in these waters. Richard Wagner, CBS News, in the Gulf.
Iran's representative at the UN claimed today that Iranian forces sunk a U.S. Navy ship with all its crew aboard during yesterday's action. The Pentagon flatly denied that. President Reagan had his people today generally playing down the U.S. account of the fighting. Correspondent Eric Ingberg reports.
The mood in Washington was set by the president. No gloating, no saber rattling.
Things seem to be quieting down in the Gulf. We hope it continues that way.
As Mr. Reagan formally notified Congress of the fighting in a bid to ensure continued bipartisan support, the American Armada launched a wide-ranging search for the only 2 U.S. casualties of the battle, pilots of a Marine Corps Cobra helicopter missing on a reconnaissance flight. They are Captains Kenneth Hill and Stephen Leslie, both of North Carolina. Water temperatures near 80 degrees in the search area fueled hopes they could have survived a ditching. And friends of Hill in the town of Thomasville remember his determination.
Kenneth's one of those persons I can never conceive of giving up.
The administration was clear in stating its hope today's lull in the fighting will continue.
We urge maximum restraint on everyone. In our view, this incident has been brought to a close.
The U.S. was careful to avoid charging that Iranians had used their land-based Chinese-made Silkworm missiles, even though there was some evidence they had. An American pool correspondent on the frigate Jack Williams reported members of the crew yelled "Silkworm incoming" during 5 separate Iranian missile attacks, all of which were dodged by the ship. Pentagon spokesman today said there was no evidence yet silkworms had been fired. Naval experts say the crewmen on the ship, using their radar and their own eyes, would have been able to make such an identification.
By eliminating other characteristics of other missiles, you could conclude it was a silkworm.
The Pentagon has reason to be careful about any assertions that silkworms were used. The U.S. has always said it would take unspecified, appropriate action if the Iranians used the missiles. Eric Engberg, CBS News, the Pentagon.
The Soviet Union today condemned both sides in the Persian Gulf fighting. The newspaper Pravda said the Americans were acting like bandits and the Iranians like pirates. In Moscow, Soviet Defense Minister Dmitry Yazov took the same line in his first ever interview with a Western journalist. CBS News Pentagon correspondent David Martin.
На которых добывается нефть иранцами. I personally believe that the activities of the United States Navy against the Iranians, especially against the oil platforms, serve no purpose. I also believe that the attacks of the U.S. Navy against the Iranian warships serve no purpose either. I equally consider the actions of the Iranians, planting mines in the waterways of other ships in the Persian Gulf, as serving no purpose.
Neither the Soviets nor the Pentagon nor anyone else claims to understand the reasons behind Iran's newly aggressive tactics. Correspondent Alan Pizzi reports that militarily, the Iranians had little chance of winning and much to lose in yesterday's battles.
This is an unusual look at an unusual ship. Taken recently, the pictures show a poorly equipped Iranian frigate that yesterday tried to take on the might of the U.S. Navy Gulf Fleet. In the midst of attacks and battles in the Gulf, the Iranian ship Sabalan fired on a Navy A-6 carrier-based attack bomber. The A-6 released a laser-guided bomb, scoring a direct hit on the Sabalan, which the Pentagon said today had limped to port badly damaged.
It was only when the Sabalan came out and demonstrated hostile intent that we struck her. We struck her with one 500-pound laser-guided bomb.
The Sabalan had been on its way to join another Iranian warship that was attacking 3 U.S. Navy vessels. After looking at pictures of the frigate, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Thomas Moore, said it wasn't much of a fight.
The Iranians not in the same ball game, not in the same league.
Until yesterday, the Sabalan had spent its time playing games of brinkmanship with the American Navy. The pattern in the Gulf has been for Iranian and American warships to come close, test each other's will, and then pull away. The Sabalan had only been aggressive towards ships that couldn't fight back. Iranian Navy men regularly boarded and searched merchant ships. So what prompted an aging, relatively lightly armed frigate to take on the high-tech capabilities of the U.S.?
They have some kind of operating order which in effect told all the ships at sea to attack. So they were essentially on a suicide mission.
That tactic is usually associated with fanatical Revolutionary Guards who race about the Gulf in speedboats, attacking shipping they believe is helping Iran's enemy, Iraq, and seeking the death they call martyrdom, an instant ticket to paradise. The Iranian Navy, on the other hand, had, until recently, behaved conventionally. Many of the officers are American or British trained, career military men left over from the days of the Shah. The Sabalan was one of only 4 frigates in Iran's Gulf Fleet, which is now all but out of business, at least for a while. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Washington.
Iraq reported on today it fired more long-range missiles into Tehran and other Iranian cities. Meanwhile, Iranian warplanes tried to beat back advancing Iraqi ground troops in the strategic Faw Peninsula. Iran had hoped to win a long war of attrition against its Persian Gulf rival, but as Tom Fenton in London reports tonight, it doesn't seem to be turning out that way.
A sudden reversal of fortunes has put Iran on the defensive for the first time since the early days of the Gulf War. At last Friday's prayers, the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament was gloating over the mining of the U.S. frigate Roberts and boasting that Iran was about to defeat Iraq. Today, it's Iraq's President Saddam Hussein who is doing the gloating. He congratulated his army for retaking part of the strategic Faw Peninsula where fighting is still going on. The faces of the Iranian prisoners reflect Iran's first major setback since 1982. Experts say Iran has been pushed into a corner.
They are looking around for something to do to offset this disaster, if you like, overreacting, I think, to the American reprisal for the mining incident last week.
Today, despite the heavy losses at the hands of the U.S. Navy, Iran's president threatened to strike back again at America. There are reports that recruiting for the army, which has fallen off sharply in recent months, is suddenly booming.
People are queuing up once again in a show of support for the war, and volunteers are pouring in, especially from the remote villages and the smaller towns, saying now this is a war against America.
Experts believe Iran's next move may be to hit soft targets, possibly sabotage or terrorist attacks against Kuwait. But Iran has shown that a cornered adversary can be dangerous and unpredictable. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
The hijacking of a Kuwaiti airliner went into its third week in Algiers today. The Algerian government said, quote, an important personality entered the negotiations, but that person was not identified. Today, the hijackers put a woman hostage on the radio, one of two sisters from Kuwait's royal family. She repeated the gunman's demand for the release of 17 terrorists from Kuwaiti prisons, a demand that Kuwait has refused to consider. A court in Frankfurt, West Germany today convicted Abbas Hamati of helping to kidnap two West German citizens in Beirut. The judge sentenced him to 13 years in prison. The 29-year-old Abbas was found guilty of plotting the abductions in an effort to force West Germany to release his brother, the TWA hijacking suspect Mohammed Hamati. Mohammed Hamati is still facing trial in West Germany for the hijack and for the murder of a U.S. Navy diver. Israel expelled 8 more Palestinians today, forcing them aboard helicopters and leaving them in southern Lebanon. Most of them were from the West Bank village where a 15-year-old Jewish girl was killed in a recent clash. The U.S. State Department once again criticized the deportations, saying they violate the Geneva Conventions and will only, quote, inflame further passions. Back home here in the USA, a pivotal presidential primary night in New York. The polls are still open. Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis looking to beat Jesse Jackson and Al Gore soundly and looking to be seen as the inevitable Democratic nominee. Jackson needing to rebuild momentum. Gore needing to do well enough to prove that he is a national candidate and stay in. Our CBS News chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer reports on a crucial primary night in the Empire State.
We're going to line up and go right down the street and vote now.
That was the idea, of course, and today when Jesse Jackson found supporters in Spanish Harlem, he wasted no time. He just marched them directly to the polls.
Good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Hi.
Michael Dukakis hit the subway stops early. As he headed home at midday, he told one strap hanger, I have to run my state this afternoon. But he left town feeling good about his chances.
But it's been a terrific, exciting, interesting couple of weeks.
Good morning.
It has not been so terrific for Al Gore, who found himself answering the kind of questions you get when you appear to be losing. How long before you quit?
I'm going forward to the Democratic nomination and win the general election.
New York Mayor Koch, Gore's constant companion here, was not with him today, but Gore still got questions on whether Koch's sharp attacks on Jesse Jackson had embarrassed him.
I'm honored that he is supporting my candidacy. That doesn't mean that when he speaks for himself that he is saying what I feel.
Or that New Yorkers liked it. CBS News New York Times exit polling so far suggests that by 2-1, voters here did not agree with Koch's criticisms. Koch, however, remained feisty.
People say I'm using inflammatory language. I can't understand it. It really beats the hell out of me. Has the truth no relevance anymore?
Even so, some local political experts say Gore may have been hurt rather than helped by the mayor's endorsement.
That it diverted a lot of energy and a lot of media away from him. And it made the stories much more processed and much more about the mayor and made it harder for him to get his message out.
And there are already indications tonight that New York may be the last stop for Gore. Gore has canceled all news interviews scheduled for tonight and tomorrow. And CBS News has been told that his media consultant in Pennsylvania and his campaign workers in Ohio and Indiana have been instructed to put their activities on hold for now. Meanwhile, aides also say he'll meet with advisors in Washington beginning tomorrow to decide whether to continue on. Dan?
Thank you, Bob. CBS News has been conducting exit polling most of the day in New York, interviews with voters after they have left the polls. In keeping with agreements made with certain members of the U.S. Congress, our intention is that the results not be reported until after the polls close at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Still to come on the CBS Evening News, Bruce Hall on the violent, destructive side of nature, and Bob McNamara on nature's soft, serene, springtime side.
After day, more people depend on Subaru wagons than any imported wagon in America. And with good reason. They're reliable and durable. In fact, if Subaru didn't make your life easier...
Honey, is dinner ready?
Who would?
Besides owning a great car, your Subaru dealer can now save you a great deal of cash.
Heartburn again?
Yeah.
Take some Riopan Plus 2. It's double strength.
I hope it works fast.
In lab tests, Riopan Plus 2 starts neutralizing acid in 10 seconds.
You look better.
You want to go out for a banana split?
Riopan Plus 2, the fast antacid.
It's the same old line I fall for every time. Just as good, only cheaper. So, it's 5 minutes before the market closes. I'm on the phone, waiting for it to ring, watching my hair turn gray. Waiting. I can't get through.
Without AT&T, you're twice as likely to get a busy circuit.
One of these days, you'd think I'd learn.
AT&T's worldwide intelligent network. Because we know it's not just long distance. It's your business on the line. AT&T, the right choice.
Unlike a lot of high-fiber cereals, Fiber One is now low in sodium and has absolutely no added sugar. And no cereal has more fiber. Get more of the fiber your body needs and less of the stuff it doesn't.
A storm system that spawned lightning, rain, and hail swept across the southeast today. It unleashed a tornado that ripped through a North Florida community, blowing apart mobile homes so that not a trace was left. A veteran sheriff said, "I've never seen anything like this." Bruce Hall shows us what the deadly storm did.
It is the most severe tornado to hit Florida in 22 years, cutting a 12-mile path of destruction through the panhandle town of Madison.
It sounded like about 50 sticks of dynamite going over outside the window.
All hell broke loose.
And what were you trying to do?
Hell broke its bonds and came to my house.
Families were awakened by the strong winds and rains. Marianne Wheeler says in a matter of seconds, her home came apart in front of her eyes.
It was like something was sucking up the house, and then it just started blowing the windows.
She lost the house, but everyone in the family survived. She was among the lucky ones. 4 people were killed and more than a dozen were taken to hospitals. Besides hitting several residential areas, the tornado ripped through North Florida Junior College, destroying a half-dozen buildings, damaging every structure at the school. However, none of the 2,000 students lives on campus, so the area was vacant when the storm hit. For several years, the community and the school have been trying to build a new library. Finally, this month, construction was finished. Now, today, the library has been destroyed before it even opened. It was a story that was repeated time after time. A church destroyed, mobile home park wiped out, residential areas devastated. There were numerous reports of tornadoes across North Florida and South Georgia, but none as severe as the tornado in Madison. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Madison, Florida.
Suddenly, homes all across America are opening. They're opening for Coldwell Banker's annual Spring Open House celebration. More homes than ever before, so you're sure to find the one that's right for you. Just call your nearest Coldwell Banker office. But hurry, spring doesn't last forever, and neither does our open house celebration. Coldwell Banker, expect the best. A member of the Sears Financial Network.
What's this?
Those are the brakes?
I can go fast.
Yeah, but careful. When someone cares, you trust them.
Why are you doing that?
So it fits you just right. When you feel special, that's trust.
I'll bet you're so Dad.
At Allied Van Lines, people make the difference. Each one takes pride in being the one America trusts.
You like putting things together?
I like doing this for you.
Me too.
At Red Lobster, we know how you love shrimp. Lots of shrimp. So here's 29 shrimp, 4 different ways, all in one dinner. Succulent shrimp cocktail, sizzling shrimp scampi, crispy fried shrimp, and savory stuffed shrimp. It's the ultimate shrimp lover's feast. 29 shrimp, 4 different ways. This week at Red Lobster. And now, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too, enjoy the shrimp and crab feast, just $10.95. And kids popcorn shrimp, just 99 cents.
Babies behind bars. That is the dilemma for law enforcement officials confronting a new reality. Not long ago, a judge said the old philosophy was that prisons were built for scoundrels and outlaws, but not for women. That attitude is dead. And John Blackstone tonight looks at the result for mother, child, and the law.
At the California Institute for Women, more than 2 babies are born every week on average. At the Texas State Prison for Women, at least 1 baby is born each week. But there are no babies at either institution, 2 of the largest in the country. They are taken away from their inmate mothers, often hours after birth. Mothers who stay on good behavior can see their children once a week, like any other visitor, but most of the time only across a barrier.
We have a wall between us and, glass between us. You don't get to hold her. Just look at her.
Nationally, more women than ever are being sentenced to prison. More than 30,000 are behind bars now. About 10% are pregnant when locked up. And thousands more leave children behind.
For every mom that's doing time on the inside, there's a child doing time on the outside.
Women's prisons, authorities concede, are chronically overcrowded. Living conditions are hard, and health care for pregnant women is often inadequate. At the California Women's Prison, the largest in the world, 2,400 inmates crowd into a space meant to hold only 940. Studies conducted by prison rights advocates and not challenged by authorities show only 45% of the pregnancies here ended in live births. Nearly 1/3 of the pregnant women miscarried. Tani Misak was one of them.
They waited 3 days before they took me out.
The doctors waited 3 days?
Yeah, the baby was dead by then.
The overwhelming majority of these women are doing time for nonviolent crimes, relatively short sentences, and yet, in a sense, the pregnancy is sentenced to death.
But prison authorities are beginning to make improvements. At the Texas State Prison, there is now regular prenatal care that some inmates say is better than they would get on the outside. But the women still must give up their babies to relatives or to foster homes or even to adoption. Only one prison allows women to keep their babies. The New York State Prison at Bedford Hills has a nursery inside its walls. But the approach is controversial.
I think prison is for adults. I think that babies don't belong in prison.
Instead, at a few halfway houses like the Elizabeth Fry Center in San Francisco, inmates can serve sentences up to 6 years and keep their children with them. The setting is more like a home than a prison. The halfway house is small, room for just 10 women in a state with 4,000 female inmates. But the center is a start, a recognition that children should not be punished for the crimes of their mothers. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
I've got big news for prune lovers who also love cereal. Actually, it's kind of small news when you look at it. It's Sunsweet bite-sized pitted prunes. Try them on your cereal, and you'll agree Sunsweet bite-size is just the right size.
Walter, this is Mother. Mother, Walter wants to use the phone.
Fine, right there.
Second-class phones, they're making second-class phones.
Oh, that silly phone. Use our AT&T phone in there.
For phones that work like phones are supposed to work, stick with the first-class phones of AT&T.
It's okay. It works.
I was a young boy who dreamed of great things, to bring a medal home to my country. And the dream came true. As an athlete, I was determined to do great things. Today, I still am. Now I'm an American citizen, a part of another team, a doll that helps to make medical surgery safer.
And when this team wins, the whole world wins.
Dow lets you do great things.
Nice workout, Mr. Landsberg?
No. Sounds like you need Myoflex, the odorless pain relief rub most recommended by physicians and pharmacists.
It happens every spring, the flowering of America. And perhaps the most remarkable thing about this routine marvel of nature's is that it always strikes the onlooker with wonder, with surprise. No more so than in Texas, where Bob McNamara reminds us that in the world of wildflowers, even a bad year is great.
Along Route 71, Cheryl French pictures her 7-month-old Leah in a bed of bluebonnets. And all across Texas now, the wildflowers are back.
The colors are wonderful. The blues and the oranges, the yellows.
The pastures of bluebonnets surround Brenham and Chapel Hill. The meadows of pink evening primrose near Marble Falls. Once more, the wildflower watching has Texas talking.
It just refreshes my soul. After you see the flower in the open field, you just feel real calm.
I always feel better after I've just taken a day off and gone out to see what I can find.
At the LBJ Ranch, the flowers are as familiar as the lady of the house.
When people ask me what's my favorite, that really can't be answered. But it'd be pretty hard to not say the little pink evening primrose.
Today, where the Texas Highway Department seeds thousands of miles of wildflowers, the roadsides brighten with Indian paintbrush, patches of coreopsis and flax, just the sight for the sore eyes of a long day's drive.
It makes you feel alive. You feel everything is growing. It gives, to me, it's a peaceful feel.
But this is not a good year for Texas wildflowers. Spring drought conditions have muted what's usually an even more brilliant display. Still, that's no matter to a man on his first walk in a field of color, or to a lady in a spring bonnet, or someone posing with a friend. And while it might take serious study to know all there is about what's blooming, you don't need all that.
The kind that really thrill my soul are the unexpected, nature-given, God-given stands that I suddenly come upon when I'm traveling some backcountry road. They just take my breath when I come across them.
Bob McNamara, CBS News, Snook, Texas.
And that's the CBS Evening News. We'll bring you late results from the New York presidential primary, and we'll present a recap of the voting at 11:30, 10:30 Central Time. Dan Rather. See you later.
Welcome to another round of Name That Cereal. Fruit and fiber cereal tastes so good, you forget the fiber. Are you ready?
Yes. Sweet and chewy dates, fat raisins, meaty walnuts, crisp light flakes.
All right, name that cereal.
I know. It's fruit.
Oh, sorry, it's post-fruit and fiber cereal packed with delicious fruit and high-fiber flakes. Tastes so good, you forget the fiber.
This is the all-new Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and this is the new Cutlass Supreme game going on right now. Game brochures are at your Oldsmobile dealer or participating McDonald's. Understand so far? Good. Play the Cutlass Supreme game. You could win an all-new Cutlass Supreme SL or $1,000 in cash, and you'll get a coupon for cash back on a new Cutlass Supreme. Game pieces are at your Olds dealer. You should go there. Any question? Good.
I stained this last year, and it's fading already. Why?
You didn't protect it with Thompson's Water Seal Stain.
Look at that streaking. Guess I used the wrong stain.
You did. Only Water Seal Stain contains Thompson's Water Seal, a formula that's better than the leading brand at protecting both the color and the wood, and this test shows it.
With Water Seal Stain, the next time won't be for a long time.
Thompson's Water Seal Stain, beauty that lasts at last. Now available at selected paint, hardware, and home center stores.
This is CBS.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News, 2 students at Whites Creek High School are shot and wounded in